Seriously, Diane, was Colgate your secret to winning Best Smile back in high school?
Yep, and it still is. I even work overnight.
Huh?
Colgate's Optic White Overnight Whitening Pen works overnight. So after 1 week, I can show up confident and reunion ready.
And here I was bragging about my kids.
Colgate Optic White. Find it at all major retailers.
The holiday season officially starts when you get that first card in the mail. Shutterfly makes it easy to add more meaning to the everyday with hundreds of holiday card designs that can be personalized in seconds with your favorite photos from this year. Select your greeting, customize the color, and even add little extras like personalized foil to make a holiday card that really shines. Enjoy 40% off with code SMILE40 at Shutterfly.com and send something meaningful this year. See site for more details.
1, 2, 3, 4. Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. 31 Days of the Dead. Day 27. We're continuing our 31 Days of the Dead, and my guest today is my friend and friend of the show, Amber Gray. Welcome back to the show, Amber.
Hello, thank you.
We are talking today about The Dead Don't Die, and you chose this one out of the list I gave you. Why did you choose this one in particular?
Well, I chose it because I love Adam Driver. And what is the director's name? He always does the weird indie movies.
Jim Jarmusch.
Yeah, and I love Tilda Swinton, and he always, because she's so bizarrely perfect.
Yes.
And he always puts her in everything, but I hadn't seen this. So yeah, that's why I chose it.
Well, I know he's worked with Bill Murray before. Let's do a few stats before we get into it. It is from 2019, written and directed by Jim Jarmusch. It's 104 minutes, and it's in English and in color. And it says the box office was $15.3 million, but they don't give me a budget here, so I have no idea if that was good or not. The cast is Bill Murray as Chief Cliff Robertson, Adam Driver as Officer Ronnie Peterson, Tilda Swinton as Zelda Winston, Chloe Svegny as Officer Mindy Morrison, Steve Buscemi as Frank Miller. Frank Miller, that's the name of a famous comic book artist and writer. I'm wondering if that's a coincidence. Danny Glover as Hank Thompson, Caleb Landry Jones as Bobby Wiggins, Selena Gomez as Zoe, Austin Butler as Jack, Luca Sabat as Zach, Rosie Perez as Posey Juarez, Esther Ballant as Fern, Iggy Pop as male coffee zombie, Sarah Driver as female coffee zombie, Riza as Dean, Carol Kane as Mallory O'Brien, Larry Fessenden as Danny Perkins, Russell Colin as Lily, Sturgill Simpson as Guitar Zombie, Jody Markel as Woman on TV, Charlotte Kemp Mole as Fashion Zombie, Maya Delmont as Stella, Talia Whitaker as Olivia, Jai Diallo Winston as Geronimo. Those are all the kids in the juvenile detention center. Tom Waits as Bob, Hermit Bob, and Jonah Marshall as Zombie Child. So, Amber, what do you think of The Dead Don't Die?
Well, I didn't hate it.
Uh-huh.
It, I went into it knowing that it was absurdist, and I shouldn't have expected things to make sense.
Okay.
So,
So you had not seen it before?
no, I had not seen it.
Oh, okay.
So I knew who most of the cast were, but I tried not to look at too many spoilers before.
Right.
So there were a few surprises, people that I didn't know. I had no idea Steve Buscemi and Chloe Sevigny were in it. And they were delightful surprises. But then Steve Buscemi comes on the screen wearing a hat that says "Keep America White Again."
Yeah. Yes.
Which was some great commentary right now.
Right. It was also just such a weird moment, though, because he's wearing that hat, but sitting right next to Danny Glover, who's black, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen. And they seem to be on fairly friendly terms. They're being friendly to each other. And Steve is even concerned that he may have offended Danny when he says that the coffee's too black for me. And he's like, I mean, too strong. I didn't, I wasn't making a crack about blackness. I meant it was too strong. So I'm like, what a weird, the guy's clearly a racist.
Right.
And yet everybody's just kind of like, he's just, they just kind of ignore it, or they're used to it. I don't know. It was an interesting choice. I think there are people like this. I've known people like this who are like, I don't care for black people, but you're one of the good ones. I like you.
Right.
Because I know you personally. Because to them, it's just sort of an abstract thing, because they don't know that many black people personally, and they're just living in their little bubble. And the ones that they do know, they like, and they can't extrapolate that to all the other ones out there are just people as well. Some of them are nice, and some of them are not. And maybe I shouldn't make sweeping judgments about entire categories of people. They just can't quite make that jump. Right. So I actually kind of found that realistic, even though it was weird.
I did also.
Now, I am. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I won't get to. I was going to make a political statement, and that would have been a mistake. So just.
We gotten political on this show. I mean, because this, like a couple other movies that we watched this season, the underlying cause of the zombies in this movie is capitalism.
Right.
It's explicitly caused by polar fracking, but the only reason to do any polar fracking is capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
The Earth had the rotation or the tilt or both of the Earth has been interfered with by polar fracking, and it seems to have thrown everything off, including everybody's watches. The time isn't working. Time is not working properly. Their way of keeping time is not working properly because of the polar fracking, and this is also causing the dead to come back to life.
But
sure,
also
why not?
The dead aren't fully motivated. I mean, they're not motivated by brains like zombies typically are. They're more motivated by whatever capitalist thing drove them while they were alive. Like Iggy Pop just wants coffee.
Yes. If you get too close, they will kill you and partially eat you. But they're also, repeating. There's coffee zombies and cell phone zombies and medicine zombies.
Mm-hmm. The Chardonnay zombie.
Yeah. Now, I am not especially a fan of Adam Driver. Well, I guess I've enjoyed some things he's done, but I really hate him in Star Wars, which of course is the first thing I ever saw him in. I don't like his character or his performance or anything about his Star Wars life. But they do make a reference to the fact that he's in Star Wars in this movie, which it can't be
I think I missed
by
it.
accident. His keychain has a Imperial destroyer on it.
Oh, that's funny.
When he gives the keys to Tilda Swinton, she's like, "Oh, Star Wars, excellent fiction."
Oh, that's right. That's right. I do.
Yeah. So, and it's specifically an Imperial Star Wars thing, not a Jedi or a Rebel Star Wars thing. So I think that had to be on purpose, especially because we find out. Well, it's hinted at early that Adam knows he's in a movie.
Right. Yeah.
One of the weird.
I had to stop and do a little Googling because whenever The Dead Don't Die comes on the radio and Bill Murray keeps saying, this sounds familiar. And he said, well, it's because it's the theme song. So I was like, the theme song of what? I stopped and Googled it. And then I was like, oh, it is a fourth wall break. It is the theme song of this movie.
Yeah. Of the movie, yes. Yeah. Yeah. But the way he says it, it's kind of thrown away. And at first you might be thinking, oh, he means something else. But then there's another hint partway through that they know they're in a movie, and then they just come out right and say it. The part where Bill Murray and Adam Driver are in the car, I mean, they're in the car a lot, but Adam asks him something and Bill says, what are we improvising now? So apparently the question was not in the script. The follow-up question he asks was not in the script, and this annoys Bill Murray. One thing I wanted to mention is that the opening of the film, I think, is meant to be a tribute to Night of the Living Dead. Just the fact that it opens with a car driving into a cemetery is the same way Night of the Living Dead opens, with a car driving into a cemetery.
Oh, it's such a clutch off-season pickup, Dave.
I was worried we'd bring back the same team.
I meant those blackout motorized shades.
Blinds.com made it crazy affordable to replace our old blinds.
Hard to install?
No, it's easy. I installed these and then got some for my mom. She talked to a design consultant for free and scheduled a professional measure and install.
Hall of Fame son.
They're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings in the world.
Blinds.com is the GOAT.
Shop Blinds.com right now and get up to 45% off select styles. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop early holiday deals now.
Well, and there is
see a poster.
And the mention of George Romero in the car. Bobby, or whatever his name is, the comic book guy, tells Selena Gomez, nice car, very George Romero.
Yeah. And I didn't look it up, but I think it might be the same. She might be driving the car, or the same style of car, from the beginning of Night of the Living Dead. I just assumed that's what was going on. I did like the interaction with Dean and Bobby, the UPS guy.
I did
brings
too.
It just brings him a collector's item that he stumbled across and just gives it to him. Doesn't sell it to him, just gives it to him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why I don't know why everybody keeps calling him Frodo, other than he likes geeky things, because he doesn't.
And maybe because it was the two, kind of jerk guys that maybe they're just too stupid to like make a to have a better insult than that.
Right. But Dean also called him Frodo. But I didn't think he particularly looked. Yeah. But he didn't look especially like Frodo. And I don't recall, he's wearing all kinds of geek stuff, but I don't think any of it was Lord of the Rings. So I'm not sure. Yeah, that's I think that's part of why he's like, "What, did you just call me Frodo?" Because he was like, that's what Dean calls me. That's weird. I have to say, in general, I think I liked this movie better the first time I watched it. I watched it when it first came out. when it. I think I rented it from Redbox or something. I didn't see it in the theater, but I watched it soon after it came out. And watching it this time, I think I was just kind of annoyed by how just randomly quirky it was and how nothing really pays off. It's well made. It's professionally done. Everybody's good in it, but there's just so much random quirky shit in it, and none of it comes together in the end.
Yes, that's what I finished watching it. I went and talked to my husband about it, and he said, "Oh, was it good? You want to watch it again?" I said, I don't think this is a two-time watcher." Because he knows I hate ambiguous endings. I said it was it wasn't just an ambiguous ending. It was an ambiguous everything. So I don't think this is a two-time watch for me.
Well, I mean, don't they just all die in the end?
Oh, yeah. So my final notes on here were, they're all going to die. And then my next note was, and they did.
Yeah.
And they're dead.
But they know they're in a movie. Well, so that near the end, Adam Driver's character mentioned several times this is all going to end badly, and finally Bill Murray's like, why do you keep saying that when by the time it's really clear that it is going to end badly, he's like, why do you keep saying that? And he says, well, I've read the script. And they have a whole conversation about, what, you mean the whole script? He's like, yeah. He's like, Jim only gave me our scenes. I didn't get to see the whole script. He's like, that son of a bitch, after all I've done for him, stuff you don't even know about. So, which was very funny the first time I saw it, but this time I was just like, I don't know. It just wasn't,
by that point, I was already
spaceship.
Right. That's what I was already so annoyed that I was like, okay, what? Selena Gomez, Austin, but like, what happened with them? Nothing. They were here for no reason.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And
yes,
then,
that's another note I had.
An alien. Got it. Okay. Like, just nothing tied together. Nothing was clarified.
It's very clear actually from the beginning that she's an alien from her behavior. So it's not at all a surprise when she turns out to be an alien, but she's an alien who just fucks off. She's just gotten there recently. And then it seems like she's like, well, this planet's having a zombie apocalypse. I guess I better go. Rather than, because it doesn't really pay off. There's no, and as an alien with advanced technology, I can help solve this situation. No, she doesn't do that. She just fucks off. She does show up acting like she's going to help, but then just gets on her ship and goes away. But that's when Bill says, because they see this, Adam Driver and Bill Murray, excuse me, and Bill says, was that in the script? And Adam says, not in the one I read. So I'm like, then what was the whole point of telling us that he knows how it's going to end if then you put in something that he doesn't know about? Right. But yeah, I have a note here. Why Selena Gomez? They do this whole thing of introducing us to her and her two friends who are on some kind of road trip, and a whole thing about them trying to find a place to stay for the night, and the police warning them to stay in, and then they just get killed off camera. They don't become survivors who team up with the police. In a typical zombie movie, that they would be important. You don't introduce them to us if they're just going to be random victims. You don't spend that much time on them for them to just be random victims. And not just in a typical zombie movie, in any typical movie. Why are you spending so much? Why did you bother casting Selena Gomez? I don't know who these other two guys are, but maybe they're people I'm supposed to know.
Well, Austin Butler just played Elvis in the Baz Luhrmann version.
Okay.
But I don't think he kind of has a name now. I don't know that he did in 2019 or whenever this movie was.
Right. Because Selena Gomez was like a child star, she was already somebody when she was cast. She was cast on purpose, and then is wasted. So I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, whenever he went in the hotel room and she was dead, I was like, what? Why was I supposed to care about her at all then?
Yeah, I don't. So that was annoying. And just the way none of it really really pays off. I also was a little bit annoyed about Chloe, what's her name?
Sevigny.
Sevigny, that's how it's pronounced?
Mm-hmm.
That her character was such a girl.
Oh yeah.
As the female police officer, I expected her to be a little more calm and competent when the shit hits the fan, and she deals with it the least well of the three police officers. And I was like, what fucking year is this that this movie's made that you're showing me such a weak female character like this? This is just who's a police officer with a gun. Why is she being such a wimp? So
and just gives up.
I just didn't get what that
kind of.
Yeah.
In the beginning of kind of the second act, she just gives up.
There's also it's implied earlier that Adam Driver is interested in her, but then is completely clueless later when there's maybe opportunities for him to advance that goal, and he's just not doing it. I mean, his character's being clueless, but I'm not sure if it's clueless on purpose or if it's just another thread that is not picked up and allowed to die.
Yeah, I thought maybe clueless on purpose. I mean, he does drive that little convertible smart car, which was very funny, but also I thought said something about his character. But also, I think I was just trying to grasp at some straws at that point.
I can't even remember exactly what it was, but there was just a moment where there was an opportunity for him to show her some sympathy and score some points, and he doesn't do it. He's concentrating on the crime in front of him or the body in front of him or whatever. I think it's at the hotel when they find the dead bodies.
And, it's when he just carries Selena Gomez's head out. After she's already so upset about it.
Right. But there's there's that parts in that whole scene where he has an opportunity to connect with her emotionally, and he doesn't because he's autistic or something. I don't know what. He doesn't understand why she's upset, and he doesn't do anything to mitigate her being upset. He just and there's no practical reason for him to carry her head out. They just do it to get the special effect because it would look cool when her head is still kind of alive.
Right, and it to be Selena Gomez and it be her head. Yes. I can only assume.
Yeah, I'm just a big fan of her now because of Murders in the Building.
I love her in that.
Yeah, and it just, I mean, I wasn't a fan of her before, but I wasn't antagonistic towards her before. She just wasn't really on my, I didn't watch her, whatever Disney show she was on or whatever. But it just made me sad. Apart from just the whole nothing in this movie pays off, I was just kind of annoyed on her behalf that she was so wasted when she's just so great in Murders in the Building. And she was doing a good job in this movie. She was the way she was being so nice and kind to Bobby in the weird little convenience store hobby shop thing that he's running. Just, it makes you really like her character, and then excuse me. And then it just goes nowhere. So
then she just unceremoniously killed off screen.
Yeah. So this movie has a lot of great moments in it, but it just doesn't all work together. And I haven't
collectively it doesn't work.
I've seen some of Jarmusch's things, but not that many. What did I see? I'm trying to. My brother Gabriel really likes Coffee and Cigarettes and keeps telling me to see it because Bill Murray's in it. I think playing himself.
Yes, let me see. There was
Dead Man. That's the one.
Yes. That is that the one where Bill Murray.
Dead Man is no. Dead Man is the period piece with Johnny Depp in black and white. So it's also a weird.
Okay, no, I haven't
It's like
seen
it's like a frontier western thing, and that looks like it's the only other one of his movies that I've seen. So I don't know, and that's definitely a quirky little movie that has a weird ending, but I don't remember being mad at it when I was done watching it. So I don't know. I'm just not sure if I'm a fan of Jim Jarmusch after watching it a second time. So it's streaming on Max, folks, if you want to see it. And of course, it's available to rent and buy at all the places. But if you have Max, you can watch it on there.
After we've given it this glowing review.
I mean, it is, I don't know. It is interesting. If you like any of these people in it, you'll probably like watching them, but it's just, not going to go anywhere. So any other moments that stuck out to you that you want to mention?
I was looking up what other movie I loved of his with Bill Murray in it, and it was Broken Flowers. And that one was pretty, I don't know, maybe it needs a rewatch before I recommend it, but I remember liking it when I saw it.
Okay. Oh, I know what the other one was. I have seen another movie of his. It's Only Lovers Left Alive, which we covered on this podcast a couple years ago for our 31 Days of Horror. That's a vampire movie. So I think it also has Tilda Swinton in it. That was Tilda Swinton and what's his name?
She's in a lot of
Loki.
his movies.
Tom Hiddleston. Is that who I'm thinking of? Loki?
Oh, that's interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's also a kind of a weird, not your typical. John Hurt's in that one too. It's not a typical vampire movie. What was the other? Oh, I know. Who was the guy you were mentioning that played Elvis?
Oh, Austin Butler.
Austin Butler. Okay. I think he's the one that in my notes I referred to as not Skeet Ulrich.
Oh, he did have a Skeet Ulrich and Scream vibe.
Yeah. That didn't go anywhere. So
yeah.
So I know who he is now, but as I was watching the movie, I didn't recognize him at all, and I just wrote not Skeet Ulrich. So there we go. Well, I guess it's time to give this movie a rating. I'm hesitant to do that now, but Amber, we're using a brains 1 to 5 brains scale this year. So how many brains are you going to rate The Dead Don't Die?
I'm going to give it 3. I'm going to go ahead and give it 3 pumpkins. Oh, because of the cast. It's a pretty stacked cast, and I enjoyed them individually.
Right.
And because some of the cinematography was actually really great in moments. There were moments that I thought like, wow, that is really beautiful for this nonsensical film. Like I really enjoyed that shot. So for those reasons, I'm going to give it 3.
Yeah, I'm also giving it 3. It was okay. It's not a bad movie. It's just not as good as it could be if it had just been a little more cohesive and followed through on things more. Oh, I know the other thing I wanted to mention. The zombies, they don't bleed. There's black dust when you shoot them or kill them or cut their heads off. Black dust comes out.
It reminded me of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie.
Yeah, okay.
Because it was they had kind of a black smoke that came, the vampires, when they were staked. Okay. They had like a little tendril of black smoke that came out.
Okay. Well, I remember on the TV show, whenever you'd stab one, they turned to dust, which was just a way to not have to deal. That was a way of not having to deal with disposing of bodies. Because
that makes sense.
If they die, because she's killing multiple vampires every episode, and if she has to get rid of the body every time, that's like 50% of the show is just her dealing with a very inconvenient body and possibly multiple inconvenient bodies. So, and
then how does she explain that?
Yeah. I mean, I've never heard Joss Whedon say that's it, but as soon as it happened the first time, I was like, oh, okay. so he doesn't have to deal with the practicality of the situation. Because, really, in real life, when you kill a vampire, if you want him to stay dead, you have to not only stake him through the heart, but cut the head off, stuff garlic in the mouth, sew the lips up, put the head at the foot of the body, and then if you want to be extra sure, bury it at a crossroads. Or even burn it and bury it at a crossroads. And you just can't go through that several times an episode. So just have him turn into dust.
Yeah. But I don't know if it would have lasted 8 seasons or whatever however long it was.
Yeah. So there you go, folks. It's a 3 from me and a 3 from Amber. Let us know what you thought. Send us a message. Leave a comment. We're going to wrap it up here, I guess. But if you enjoy the show, please like and subscribe and rate and review. Consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/MMFTG. We'll be back tomorrow with another in our 31 Days of the Dead. Amber, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me again. I always enjoy it.
Until next time, I have been Precious D. Amber has been my guest. Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements. Please don't misuse science. Please tie up all your loose threads in your movie. We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on your podcasting platform of choice. You can leave us a message and find links to all our things at mmftg.com.